Hello guys, I wanted to talk with you today about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and how they have, this is kind of just a cursory approach to something I'd like to address more in the future, as well as a variety of subjects I'm finding out. So, but specifically to this, what I've found recently, I think that got headlines late last year, was that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has given over $300 million, something like $320 million just to journalism and media outlets specifically. So that is a substantial amount of money, of course. It's not quite as remarkable, though, when you consider that over $4.2 billion. No. Yes, over 4.2. I think it's like $4.28 billion. That's what the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation gives out every year in grants. So, what's significant about that $4.28 billion is annually that they give out. That is more money than is given out by the next 6 largest foundations combined. So, of every foundation of some wealthy person who decides to build this nonprofit foundation, the next 6 largest ones still aren't as big as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And many of those are in the multi-billion, and many of those are in the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. So, and interestingly enough, the next biggest one is also a big tech company, similar to, well, it's, I think it's the Silicon Valley Community Fund, I believe is what it's called. It's not that. Well, it's a similar background, I suppose. They both come from the tech industry. But what makes Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation unique is they become ubiquitous and synonymous with things like global health and global poverty and global vaccination and disease and AIDS, things like that. So a lot of issues that target Africa specifically are issues that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has become involved with. And one of my favorite quotes is, philanthropy is the gateway to power. And there's no better example of power than what it's being exhibited right here. Even if power is wielded responsibly, which sometimes it appears like it is, but in the case of, who could argue against trying to reduce poverty worldwide, or who could argue against trying to reduce disease and infections and encourage vaccination? All of those, as long as they're based in science and research, yes, of course, and that, who wouldn't want to make a more egalitarian society where people are generally less poor? It sounds good, but the fact that it's this man specifically doing it, he doesn't have a humanitarian background. He built this humanitarian image over the last 20 to 30 years, but ever since he started to pull back from Microsoft about 20 years ago, he's focused on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and now it has an endowment of over $50 billion, and that is an insane amount of money that they're worth, and they give out $4.28 billion every year. that's more than the next 6 largest foundations combined, and their causes, that though they appear good, if they have to pay 320 million, or if they have to give out $320 million to journalists and media outlets in order to promote the message that they feel is necessary. I mean, it's muddying the waters, and it's making him an expert in things that he's not. And I resent the idea that this guy becomes an expert on subject matter just because he has the most money, and he has the biggest charity foundation in the world, which means that every scientific effort, every publication, every bit of research that an institution, a college, a lab does, if they ever want to receive funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they better be careful what they say to the press. They better orient themselves and their scientific and humanitarian efforts towards what interests the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, because if they don't, then they'll cut off the purse strings, or they'll never consider donating to them to begin with. And I don't know if we've ever seen this much philanthropy, the power of philanthropy being wielded by one organization, and really by one maybe 2 people, if you count Bill and Melinda together or not. But it's remarkable the power he wields, and he continues to dominate the world of philanthropy, and by extension the world of health, science, medicine, disease, and he even dominates the press, because he is able to speak on platforms where he would never have the authority to speak otherwise. His reach on global issues is unquestioned, and he's backed up by the journalists who receive funding from him, and he's given that self-perpetuating air of legitimacy. And it's clear that he doesn't have, his values are not, if he cared about America and Americans, he would donate that money here. I'm not saying that these global causes aren't important, but he's clearly a globalist. He clearly has a global agenda, and even if many of these things are done in the name of health and poverty and inequality, they are done in ways that are deceptive, that go under the public radar, and that make him out to be this billionaire saint, the best of billionaires, and make him out to be an expert in subjects that he knows little about, or even if he does, he has not been granted this authority by his peers and by the global community. So I really gotta say it's worrisome where if the media continues to take money from him to this kind of rate, and especially the journalists. The media is the most significant. But but as the world continues to take his money and who gets the money, it's an incredible amount of power, and people rarely think about the real power behind philanthropy, and what can be done with that, and it's remarkable. While guys like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are taking the flack out there as the billionaires who are in the public eye and public scrutiny, Bill Gates generally goes unnoticed, and that's by design, I believe, and it's insidious, his power. So anyway, thank you guys.